Welcome to JLMTAuto. Today we're going to be fixing my brother-in-law's Golf R because his Haldex pump and his Haldex ECU have both failed. Now the ECU has been taken off and been sent away for repair to haldexrepairs.com, but in the meantime we're going to be fitting the pump and we're going to show you how to take the old one off, put the new one on and fill. Nice and simple. So getting underneath the car, you'll see the front of the diff here and the back of the diff here. And you'll find the fill plug here and the drain plug. You need to make sure the fill plug cracks off, and then that means you can then pull the drain plug out and you'll be able to refill it. And then normally here there would be an ECU, but as I mentioned, we've removed that and that's been sent away for repair, so then that can go back in afterwards. You can just see in the corner here the pump itself, which we'll get onto in a minute. 2 bolts holding that on, so it's a fairly simple, quick and easy job. So the fill is a size 5 Allen key. Just want that to crack like it did, and then we can wiggle into the drain plug. There we go. Now I'll get some gloves for this bit because it can get a bit messy. So this is quite a long bolt. There are 2 drain points, I think, here and here, but this point here will get most of the oil out. So we'll just let that oil drain out. While that's draining out, we'll start looking at getting the pump off. So the pump is held on by 2 bolts, this one and directly opposite on the other side. It's quite difficult to get the camera in. So we need to undo them. They're a 10mm, and then we'll wiggle this pump out, clean off the area and put the new pump in. And yes, I know, we need to sort an exhaust leak out. It's on the list. Two bolts. Now you don't need them, you do get new bolts in the kit, and now we've just got to wiggle this out. Easiest way to do this is to find some Nipex that grip nicely onto it, give it a wiggle and slowly work it out as you're wiggling. It will come, it's just got some O-rings holding it in. There we go. So now that's released, we'll come back round the side where the ECU would have been. You need to unplug your pump plug, which is just up here, and send that over the back side. It's got like some plastic clips, which I can't show you in here. But effectively, just pull it off like I've just done. That should be it released. We can then wiggle this a bit more, make sure we're capturing all the oil that comes out. There we go, and we'll see a load of sludge come out of this one, I reckon, because I don't think this has been off in years. And another little plastic clip holding that cabling on. There we go. I'll show you now what I'm on about. So you have 2 little clips on a plastic wiring harness holder. So you just need to pop them out, and then this whole wiring harness and pump assembly can come out. And as you can see on this pump, there is tons of sludge, which we'll just check inside as well and clean up any inside of the pump housing. That is all the sludge that's built up in this pump. I don't expect this has probably ever or very rarely had a change. It's got quite high mileage now, above 80,000, and this is the type of sludge you get in and the build-up, and it is proper sludgy, yucky, oily. Yeah, not nice. So we need to get all of this out. Well overdue an oil change, probably why the pumps failed, which could have also shorted out the ECU. But also the ECU we took apart, put some pictures on the screen now of the corrosion. So that's been sent away for repair anyway. I've just got a little bit of electrical contact cleaner, but you could use brake cleaner or anything, just to try and remove some of that really stubborn stuff. You want to make sure all the sludge is out of this because it will damage, or it could damage the pump and just block up the new pump and block up the filter, which you don't want. So now we need to get the new pump in. It's a Borg-Warner pump with Borg-Warner oil, not worth risking getting anything else. They pre-lube the O-rings for you, and as you can see that gauze is nice and clean. So if we line this up, making sure the wiring harness here is at the top. There's a little hole up there where the first connection goes in. I'll give that a bit of a squeeze. When you're using the bolts to draw the pump in, you want to make sure you're tightening a little bit at a time. You don't want to go all the way because it's unlikely that you could damage the pump and the pump sealing faces. So you want to sort of draw this one in a little bit, and then go up to the top one, draw the top one in a little bit, then go back to the bottom one, draw the bottom one in, and basically just keep repeating this until the pump is fully seated in, and then you can tighten them up fully. Like I said, this is just to avoid damaging the pump faces or the O-rings as you're pulling it in. The last thing you want to do is destroy your nice new expensive pump and then have to go back to Borg Warner and order another one. I'm sure there's torque figures online. I've done enough of these pump installs and part installs to know what is right. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. And now's time for the slightly fiddly bit, which is fitting the wiring harness connector. So this wants to go right over the other side. So hopefully we'll be able to just make it out. The wiring harness goes over the front, and then you see these pins, they push through, and that holds the wiring harness in place. And there's a similar one on the other side, which I won't be able to show you, but if you can feel it with your hand, it's just by the top there where I'm sort of playing with it. And there we go, it's seated in now. So there's one plug ready for the ECU, and there's the main harness connection. And that is the pump in. So what we're going to do, we'll refit the drain plug, pull the fill plug out, and refill until we get a little bit of overflow. We'll then need to run a pump learn on VCDS, and then just top it up after that pump refill. Keep pumping till all the oil is in. Okay, see that starting to trickle down. Just give it another couple of pumps, make sure it is definitely full. Pop this out. And pop your fill plug back in. And now we're ready for the new ECU to be fitted and to then log in with VCDS and prime the pump, if I can figure out how to do it. If not, the car should learn itself. Better if you have got the equipment to plug in, or if you've got access to someone who has the equipment to plug in. Great news, the new ECU has just arrived, and by new, I mean what they do is they undo the bolts that hold the casing together, clear out all the corrosion, replace any components that have failed, and then send it back to you. So it's almost a reconditioned unit. I actually took this apart and I put a photo somewhere around of what the corrosion looked like. It was terrible. So it just shows how bad these units are actually put together. So what I'll do is I'll get the new ECU back on, and then we'll fire it up and make sure the Haldex is working. Haldex unit fitted. I actually didn't realise, but with Carista and the service section, you can complete the calibration learn yourself using your phone and a Carista dongle, which is actually really good because you can do that at home without VCDS. So you're going to scroll down, click Haldex pump learn calibration. It will communicate with the vehicle, and then you can start with the engine on. It will then say succeeded, which means it's done. It will take a bit of time. I've just shown it for the video. And then you want to diagnose and clear any fault codes that are remaining from the Haldex and ECU faults. Fairly simple job. Replacing Haldex is not the cheapest, but for 220 quid for the pump and then £180 for the ECU, it's actually an inexpensive fix to make sure your four-wheel drive system's working properly and you've got the full performance of your Golf R. So really nice and easy job. The pump is 2 bolts and pull it out with a couple of cables, and the ECU is 2 bolts and pop it out. It's a shame that ECU had to go off for refurb, but actually Haldex repairs were fantastic. So really easy job. If you like this sort of content and these sort of guides help you, please like and subscribe. It helps me know which direction to take the channel. And thanks again for watching.